Today, we're diving into a story about a data leak that, at first glance, seems to start with just a single, suspicious phone call. But as we're about to see, that one call unravels something much, much bigger, a really disturbing problem happening inside the banking system itself. So it all kicked off with something you or I might just brush off as another annoying spam call. But this time, one person's gut feeling that something was off was the single thread that pulled apart an entire criminal operation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever applied for a new credit card? You fill out all the forms, give them all your sensitive info, and then, boom, almost immediately your phone starts ringing with an offer from a totally different company? It feels just a little too coincidental, right? Well, for one person in Gurgaon, that feeling was strong enough that they decided to do something about it. On January 13th, 2025, they went and filed an official police complaint. Their reasoning was simple. The timing was just too perfect. They figured there was no way their data could have gotten out that fast unless someone on the inside leaked it. And just like that, a full-blown investigation was underway. So, who was this person on the inside? Well, the investigation didn't take long to zero in on the source, and it pointed right to the heart of one of the bank's most sensitive departments. Meet Vaibhav. He's 30 years old, an assistant manager at ICICI Bank, and his job? He worked directly in the credit card department. According to the police, he confessed to leaking applicant data. They eventually tracked him down and arrested him in Pune. And let's be crystal clear about what we mean by data. We're not talking about some anonymous stats. The info Vaibhav allegedly leaked was the whole shebang: full names, personal phone numbers, and home addresses of people who had just applied for a credit card, people who put their trust in the bank. So, how many people are we talking about? In his confession, Vaibhav admitted to selling out the details of somewhere between 250 and 300 different applicants. That's hundreds of people whose private information was just sold. But here's where the story really takes a turn. Vaibhav wasn't some lone wolf. As investigators kept digging, they realized he was just one piece of a much larger, more organized machine. And get this is the crucial part. Vaibhav's arrest, which happened on August 30th, it wasn't the first. He was actually the third person they arrested in connection with this one case. All of it still stemming from that single phone call complaint. The whole network was actually spread across rival banks. It worked like this. It started with the insider, Vaibhav at ICICI, who would leak the fresh data. He'd pass it to an agent who worked with HDFC, and that agent would then pass it up to a manager at HDFC. It was a coordinated cross-bank operation. So let's put some names to these roles. As the police laid it out, you have Vaibhav, the 30-year-old at ICICI, then there's Sharad, a 31-year-old sales agent, and finally Saurav Trivedi, a 32-year-old manager at HDFC Bank. All three were arrested as part of this scheme. Okay, now we need to zoom out, because this one network, as wild as it is really just a symptom of a much bigger and, frankly, more alarming problem. Just look at this timeline. This whole trend of bank employees getting busted for fraud in this area, it started way back in January of 2024. The complaint that brought down this network was filed a year later, and it still took another 8 months to finally arrest Vaibhav. This is not a new problem. And that brings us to the most shocking number in this entire story: 39. So, what is this number, 39? It means that Vaibhav's case is anything but unique. He is the 39th. Let me repeat that. The 39th bank employee to be caught up in cyber fraud in just the Gurgaon area since the start of 2024. 39 insiders. The authorities are definitely seeing the pattern. The head of the cybercrime unit, ACP Priyanshu Dewan, has said his team is now ramping up their efforts to specifically target these internal leaks. They know the threat isn't just coming from outside hackers anymore. It's coming from inside the bank's own walls. And that right there is the real takeaway. What started as one guy's crime is actually shining a huge spotlight on a massive systemic risk. This isn't about one bad apple. It's about a recurring pattern of fraud happening inside some of our biggest banks. And that leaves us all with a pretty unsettling question to think about. We're always told to worry about phishing emails and external hackers. But if the very people we trust with our most sensitive financial data are the ones selling it, who's actually left to protect it?